I have a rookie mock draft to share with you guys today. It's 4 rounds, Superflex, and it was sent in by a subscriber. If I receive a mock draft from one of you guys, I try to get it on the site as soon as possible, and if it's a number of them, I'll try and collect ADP off of that. That way you guys get on the channel as well. Also, before we dig in, make sure you smash that subscribe button. It's only going to help you going forward with more Dynasty information when it comes to trades, rookie drafts, player clips, whatever news I can find, I share it here. And this is the place where I share most of the stuff I find on the internet on these players. But let's dig in. This is a 4 round Superflex rookie mock draft, and we're going to start off with round 1. And the 101's a little bit different here. We have a different player coming off the board than what we're used to, but it has not been predicted. We've seen this before in other spots and other people talking about him. And at the 101 here, we have Anthony Richardson, quarterback of the Colts. And I can see this for Superflex because he's got upside for days. See people pulling the trigger here with that quarterback value, especially if they know their league and it's hard to trade for quarterbacks. And if he hits, you got one of the top players in the game, and with his rushing production, that should give you some floor, but the floor is also low due to him being a developmental prospect, so there is some risk, but you're also shooting for a shit ton of upside. Going to the 102 pick here, we're going with Bijan Robinson of the Falcons, generational running back prospect, 101 in most drafts, 102 here. Usually when he's 102, a quarterback goes in Superflex. So this is very normal to see him go in this range. At 103, another quarterback's coming off the board, and it's a different one than what you probably would think, and it's CJ Stroud of the Texans. Usually it's Richardson, Young, but we got Stroud here. When I see these quarterbacks, they flip and flop with each other. It really depends on the flavor of that league. Really just depends on that. Usually, Richardson's the first one or second one, and then Young's in the between there. But Stroud will sneak up as the first one and second one as well. These three just flip with each other. Then at the 104, the last quarterback of the top guys are coming off, and that's Bryce Young to the Panthers. Was the QB1 going into rookie draft season. Now he's just flipping flopping with the other guys due to landing spot, due to capital, and also people had Stroud ahead of him. So this has been a very ambiguous quarterback class at the top. Going to the 105, another running back coming off the board here, and you're going to guess it after I just said that. Jahmyr Gibbs of the Lions. A lot of people are pulling the trigger on him around here, maybe at 104, 106, depending on who else got drafted, but he's going to be catching the ball in the backfield. Lions are planning to use him. Going to the 106 pick here. Next player coming off the board is Jaxon Smith-Njigba of the Seahawks. I think this is a good situation for him. I think the volume is going to increase. I think DK Metcalf and him, they can really be a good pair in the passing game. At 107, another comparable situation, and that's Jordan Addison of the Vikings. He's paired with Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson can really take the heat off things, and Jordan Addison's good in his own right. He can really be a nuanced player, catch the ball in the short to intermediate parts of the field, and really win with good route running and ball skills. Something you like to see with your young wide receivers. At 108 here, they pulled the trigger on the tight end, Dalton Kincaid of the Bills. Went in the first round in a good landing spot. At 109, one of the last of the big wide receivers coming off the board here is Quentin Johnston of the Chargers. Landing a grand situation for his skill set. Has a good athletic upside to him, gets you yards after catch, and can get you that ADOT. Then at 110, they're going with quarterback here. Second round pick, Will Levis of the Titans is coming off the board. Again, we're getting that super flex value here. At 111, the last first round wide receivers coming off the board here. One of the big guys, Zay Flowers of the Ravens. Lamar Jackson's got his Marquise Brown. He should get air yards, and he's nuanced to where he can separate and get targets. Finishing up the first round, surprise pick considering what's on the board and what some of you guys have been looking at, but not surprising me because I've seen a lot of drafts here. At 112 here, they went with Charbonnet of the Seahawks. He's been mixed and matched with the other running backs in ADP and other drafts in this spot. Sometimes he goes in second round, sometimes he goes in the late first, but once you get to the 110 to the early second round, these players just flip and flop with each other. Charbonnet, second round draft capital. decent production profile, catches the ball in the backfield, and is a bigger back. But to recap this first round, pretty standard here. Bijan did not go 101, but at the 102, and Anthony Richardson at the 101. That's something you don't see in every draft, but you do see him in a lot of drafts. A quarterback going at the 101, but you will see Bijan mostly 101. But don't be weirded out if you see a quarterback going up the top. Jahmyr Gibbs, Smith-Njigba, Jordan Addison, those three players in the middle, normal and Superflex. Quentin Johnston in the back half, normal, maybe a spot up or so. Zay Flowers, the same. Zach Charbonnet is a floater. That's what you kind of look at in the value range when you look at the market. He's a floater. Will Levis is a floater. You can catch him in the early second as well. Really depends on how they're going to value him in Superflex. Dalton Kincaid, you kind of got him at his peak here of the value in ADP. Sometimes he'll go 201, sometimes he'll go 112, 111, 110. 108 is about the high range considering what we got at wide receiver, and we got two running backs to look at. But let's move on to the second round. Let's start looking at these picks in this mock draft. So in round 2, 201, Kendre Miller to the Saints. Third round draft capital. Tons of upside. Should really transition in the offense. At 202 here, they selected Devon Achane of the Dolphins. They spent a day 2 pick on him. They're going to use him. Has upside for days. And also, you see him go in the first round a lot. He is a floater around this range. 203 here, tight end off the board, Michael Mayer to the Raiders. And Michael Mayer is in a good spot. Kind of fell in the NFL draft, but still could get his opportunity sooner than later. At 204, one of the hot wide receivers come off the board, and that's Jonathan Mingo of the Panthers. When I talked about him in the ADP video, I said he was going everywhere. He has a huge range of outcomes. 201 to 212 to even early third round. And then people mentioned he goes in the first round as well. Imagine a first round pick also going in the third round. That is a big range of outcomes for a player in drafts. After him at 205, we got Josh Downs going to the Colts. Very nuanced player with good ball skills. At 206, Sam LaPorta of the Lions. Good price for a tight end with good draft capital in a good spot, who's also got a good profile. So 206, a good value there. At 207, we got Tank Bigsby of the Jaguars. Going to play with Travis Etienne, but he's on a good offense that can really fuel him. Then at 208, Rashee Rice of the Chiefs. All wide receivers that go to the Chiefs, you got to have your ears perked up. That's what I'm going to say about that. At 209, we got Tyjae Spears of the Titans. Second fiddle to Derrick Henry. But if attrition happens, could see his time. Will be the satellite back there. At 210, we got Marvin Mims of the Broncos. He will get air yards. He's very nuanced. Should get targets coming his way and will develop into the offense. At 211, we got a sneaky pick here with Abanikanda from the Jets. Usually see him go around third round to almost fourth round range. Later third round. Here he goes to 11. Has a good profile. Just fell in the draft. And now they got Bryce Hall. Attrition, though, happens at the running back position. So if you want to chase talent, I understand. But at 212, a wide receiver comes off the board, and it's Jayden Reed of the Packers. He has been a guy that people has been leaning on in the late second round of drafts, so that's understandable. Good production profile, broke out with 2 collegiate programs, and has good draft capital. To round out the second round, going over that, top of the second, pretty decent. This is what we normally see. Usually Kendre and Achane in the first round, but there are times where they go to the second. I've seen a lot of drafts, and I've seen that happen. Jonathan Mingo's up and down a lot. Mims and Downs, they usually flutter in the second round. Spears is usually in the second round. Izzy is a big jump in this spot. LaPorta is usually floating in the second round, sometimes in the third as well, like in the top half of the third. Jayden Reed is always trusty in the back half of the second round, early third. He's like that last wide receiver with that good profile and draft capital that people are clicking the button on. Moving on to the third round, let's take a look at these picks. And we got a sneaky play here at the 301. That's Roschon Johnston of the Bears. Usually he's tapped into the second round. Fourth round draft capital, people are scratching their head about. However, with this draft and how it went, you see a running back here who was drafted as the first running back on day 3 with a pathway where you can make the storyline where he's going to see a large amount of touches early in his career, and then you can make your play off of that. 302, we're going super flex here. Hendon Hooker of the Lions might get his opportunity sometime, but right now it's Jared Goff's show. At 303, wide receiver Jalin Hyatt comes off the board. Dude gets air yards, but you got to see how the targets are going to accumulate. But this a price tag where it's not really a gamble. At 304, Cedric Tillman to the Browns. Expect the passing game probably to tick up a little bit. It looks like they're going to want to trend to the pass with Watson there. Looks like they're moving the pieces around for that. Cedric Tillman could be a beneficiary of that. At 305, we're going running back Zach Evans of the Rams. Rams running back unit, very ambiguous. What's Cam Akers going to do long term, especially coming back from the Achilles? Had a good run at the end of the season, horrible run at the beginning of the season. What's 2023 going to look like? 306, we got Chase Brown to the Bengals. They use Samaje Perine enough to perk your ears up in deep leagues. Also, Joe Mixon, what's he going to look like long term? Chase Brown's draft capital is not huge, so the sunk cost isn't there either, but you're not paying sunk cost either. 307, Luke Musgrave to the Packers. High-end tight end prospect going to the Packers where he will get opportunity to compete. We just got to see where the targets are going to distribute. 308, Deuce Vaughn to the Cowboys. This team likes to use multiple running backs. We've seen that in the past, but they've also had good running backs as well. Deuce Vaughn's a micro machine running back, so let's see how he transitions. But he's on a depth chart right now that's very ambiguous after Tony Pollard. After this, at 309, we got Luke Schoonmaker of the Cowboys going to a depth chart that's also ambiguous. We got some late round tight ends there, but he does have the profile of a guy that could step in right away and be a key part of the offense. 310, upside play here. Kayshon Boutte of the Patriots fell in the draft, but if he reverts to his old ways, you're talking about one of the top wide receivers in Dynasty once he transitions to the NFL game. So the floor is rock bottom, but the upside is top tier. 311, we're looking at a running back here, Eric Gray of the Giants. A lot of people liked him over the years. Has a good production profile, good tape on him. However, late round prospect, and you're going to have to see what the attrition's like in this backfield with Saquon Barkley. Although he does get a heavy workload, and we've seen some backups have some games where they post some decent fantasy numbers. At 312, Evan Hall to the Colts. Think of last year when Jonathan Taylor was out, the jabroni running backs did do something. So this could be a good gamble, especially you got Jonathan Taylor on your roster. Might as well lock that in on your tax squad just in case going into this season. But that's round 3. Let's recap it real quick. Roschon Johnson was the follower. He fell to 301, got snatched up right away. Usually he's in the second round. Hendon Hooker is a super flex play. Hyatt, Tillman, you see them in the third round often. Third round draft capital, regular NFL draft. Zach Evans, Chase Brown, running back dart throws who have upside but don't have draft capital. Then Luke Musgrave, upside tight end here. Deuce Vaughn, late round running back. Other late round running backs with Gray and Hall. And then Kayshon Boutte is your upside gamble in the third round where you're not paying any sunk cost for. So you're just shooting your shot on a player here. And if it doesn't hit, you can wipe your hands on it and just move on to somebody off the waiver wire. So that's what I like about that play. Moving to the fourth round, let's go through the rest of this draft real quick. 401, Darnell Washington of the Steelers, upside tight end. 402, Tank Dell of the Texans. Very nuanced route runner. Got good draft capital. Was very productive. 403, Sean Tucker of the Bucks. Very productive in college. Fell undrafted due to a heart condition. Let's see if he can get back to health and then work up the depth chart because it's ambiguous after Rachaad White. 404, Michael Wilson to the Cardinals. Could be some opportunity here over time, but he's really going to have to prove himself. 405, Tucker Kraft to the Packers. They drafted 2 tight ends in this draft. Let's see where the volume's going to be at this position, but he is talented. 406, Stetson Bennett to the Rams. Again, this is a super flex play. At 407, we have Tyler Scott to the Bears. Decent draft capital, has speed. Let's see if this can materialize. At 408, Darian Thompson-Robinson to the Browns. Superflex play, has rushing upside, also has a lot of experience at the college level. 409, Parker Washington to the Jaguars. You're drafting Trevor Lawrence here and hoping Parker Washington can climb the depth chart. 410, Chris Rodriguez to the Commanders. You're just drafting depth on their backfield, and then also attrition does happen, and this could allow him to be productive. He was productive at the SEC level. 4'11", Trey Palmer to the Bucks, fell in the draft, highly athletic, could climb the depth chart. And then 4'12", Puka Nacua to the Rams, very ambiguous depth chart. Nacua looked good at the Senior Bowl, so there could be a chance for him. Analyzing the 4th round, typical 4th round. 4th round, you just get your guy. There's guys left on the board, you just shoot your shot on who you want. What I look for here, this part of the draft, is either cheap tight ends that I want to take a play on, but mainly I look at running backs who catch the ball in the backfield, who are in a pathway that they could develop into a starter if attrition happens. So I could really make the story, something could happen in this team where this running back could just get an opportunity and I can use them in season, throw them off my taxi, put them in my lineup. I'm looking for those running backs here in round 4. They got to have some athleticism. They got to catch the ball in the backfield, maybe some size, but I want something good in their profile, but I also want something good on the depth chart where I know if good things happen for their situation, they can step up and maybe get some touches and help me out in fantasy and maybe gain some value from there going forward. But all in all, very standard rookie mock draft. Nothing too surprising. We had a couple surprise picks, but you're going to get that in every draft. You should have a surprise pick in every draft. If not, you're just playing with ADP. But let me know in the comments below who you're getting in your rookie draft, who you already drafted. Make sure you smash that subscribe button on the way out. It's only going to help you in your Dynasty leagues. It's only going to help you setting lineups, picking up players, and drafting your rookies. So you might as well do that. I want to thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.